In the garden, we don't spend all of our time just helping things grow. We also harvest what is grown. But how many times in our own personal life do we not do that? We focus all of our time, all of our attention on the growth. But we never harvest that growth. We never appreciate the fruits of our labor. Hi, I am A. Rose. I am a Vanderbilt grad turned stay-at-home rural mama who is learning to find value in internal metrics and not external. And that rooster says he wants to be part of this video too. I am on day 6 of 10 of a challenge I gave myself to post 10 videos in a row and to get up early, get out into my garden with the sunrise. So I'm getting up at 5 a.m., getting ready for the day, getting out about the time the sun first comes up, working in my garden for 30 minutes to an hour, and then recording a video and sharing the lesson I had in the garden. Today was all about harvesting. I focused on harvesting some of the things that were ready. I harvested some beautiful ripe red tomatoes, delicious smelling lavender, and a few marigolds just to make a quick bouquet, and I had 1 pepper. It was a pretty small harvest. It's actually my first official harvest day, but it was a lot to appreciate and it'll be a lot to enjoy. And while I was harvesting, I got to thinking about the growth trap I often fall into. That trap of always growing, always trying to improve. For me, what that looks like is always listening to the next podcast, the next audiobook of personal development, listening to YouTube videos about how to be a better mama, how to keep a better home, how to be more in peace on the inside. And I'm always trying to build the next habit, the next routine, and it can get me stuck in this idea of only looking for ways to grow, instead of taking a second and appreciating the growth, appreciating what there is to harvest in myself. And there is a lot to appreciate. I have better routines than I did a year ago. I have been so much kinder to myself. I've been gentler with my children, and I stayed more calm. I've had a lot more equanimity about situations, and that's all things I can appreciate. That's all things that Abby from a year, 2 years ago would be really, really proud of. But in the moment, I forget about those things. I just keep moving forward. I get one habit locked in and I forget that I even wanted to lock it in. It just becomes part of what I do, and I immediately move on to the next habit. Okay, I'm going to say something that most people don't confess. There was a time that I wasn't 100% perfect at brushing my teeth morning and night. Sometimes in the morning I'd go right to coffee, right to breakfast, and I really prioritized getting that as a routine. And I'm laughing because most people use this as an example of the obvious habit that we're all doing, but I'm just going to make this confessional because I imagine I'm not the only one. So, anyway, I've now locked that into a habit. I have locked it so much into a habit that it really feels uncomfortable if I don't do it. But now, I'm on to the next thing. I'm on to, put lotion on my legs every day. Or if we want to stick with personal hygiene type actions. In the personal growth space, I've before had the goal to be much more present, to actually see what it is I'm doing, to touch, feel, be in the moment. And now that I've gotten better at that I just immediately jumped on to the next way that I can grow and improve, and listening to new podcasts with new ideas instead of just stopping and appreciating it. I want to stop right here and talk about what does it actually look like to harvest personal growth. With plants, it's very obvious what we do when it's time to harvest. We pick it, we appreciate it, we savor it, we utilize it, which is actually very similar to what we do when we harvest personal growth. First thing is appreciating it. And maybe you could start a practice of actually writing down one thing a day. Think about, what is one thing I'm doing that I didn't do 1, 5, 10 years ago that version of me would be so proud of, that version of me thought about wanting to implement, and now we're here. So try to jot that down, actually write it down. Also, maybe take a day of absolutely no personal growth type content. No podcasts that are about being a better human, being a better parent, having more peace. None of it. No audiobooks, no YouTube channels, no videos like this. Just take a day away from it. Take a day where you can hear your own internal voice. You can appreciate where you are in that moment instead of just thinking about ways to improve. And in the quiet, in that stillness, without all the external noise, maybe you can see how your own efforts have been nourishing you, where it is that you are doing wonderful and are so proud of yourself. And also on that day, you don't have to only be in silence all day, but maybe let the podcast be a fun one. Let the audiobook be a fun fiction book. You can still hear things, but just don't make it all about being better all the time. Because you're good. You are wonderful right now as you are. And so don't forget to appreciate that. So I wonder why I even have to tell myself this, or why I'm even making a video. Why is it less obvious in our own lives to do the harvest? It's not unobvious in the garden. In the garden, we know we're going to harvest. But in our own life, we often get so addicted to the hustle that we don't stop to appreciate where we are. I mean, you see that in our external world too, like not just internally on our own personal development, but also with our goals. So maybe it's a career. You don't just appreciate the level you're at. You want to be promoted. Maybe it's your garden. You don't just want the 6 garden beds you have right now. Yeah. And you want to put in 5 more and put in a tea garden. Maybe in your home you want to, add a deck. There's so many things in our own life that we're conditioned to always be wanting more, always to be improving, instead of just stopping and appreciating where we're at and noticing that is good enough. That is good enough for this moment. Also, I think because we're addicted to the hustle, it can feel really uncomfortable to not be moving forward. Like I know for me, some days that are too slow and peaceful don't feel comfortable. It feels more comfortable to add in new ideas of what I should be doing or where I could be going. Like the silence and the stillness and the calm can feel uncomfortable to a nervous system that is used to productivity and hustle. And I think all of those things shape why we love just taking care of growth instead of allowing ourselves to be slow in the rewards. So if you're like me and you have spent your life in hustle mode and growth mode, let today be your invitation to pause and appreciate your harvest. Appreciate all the fruits of your labor, where you're at. Breathe in and see it and appreciate it. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to be perfect to be proud of yourself. You have done so much work. Allow yourself to rest. You've planted and watered yourself for so long. Give yourself time to gather the fruit.